play all of these moves, you'll get to the Italian game setup. And then after this, you can continue playing your chess game.
Now you'll show Scotch.
Can you show me what you learned?
Oh, okay.
In the Italian game? So do you want to... We can switch and you can move the white pieces. So what's the first move? Yeah. Yeah, so this is the Italian game. It's the first one of the many basic openings. So a couple of those, the basic ones are the Italian game, as we just talked about. Also the Queen's Pawn opening. So the Queen's Pawn opening is when you move your pawn to d4. And so whenever you move d4, that's called the Queen's Pawn opening. And if you play e4, you can call this the King's Pawn opening. So that's another one. But today we're going to learn about the Scotch game. So in the Scotch game, it's another King's Pawn opening, and there's a couple tactics in here, and we'll go over those tactics. So white plays e4, black plays e5, and you move the knight to f3. Black plays knight to c6. So in the Italian game, does anyone know what you would play? Yeah? Yeah, you would play bishop to c4, but this is not the Italian game. So in the Scotch game, you play pawn to d4. So in the Italian game, it's c4, but then here we're playing pawn to d4 because we get both of our pawns in the center, and if our pawns can go past the center, they can become really strong. So does anyone know what a pawn storm is? So a pawn storm is when you use your pawns and you push the enemy pieces back. So pawn to d5, it's kind of like a pawn storm because you're invading black's territory with your pawns. So if you think about it, up till there's a halfway point. So everything below here is white side and everything above is black side. So that now you're invading their side and you're making a really aggressive move. And now the knight would have to move back. And then you can see you had to make the knight move back. So they had to waste a turn. Yeah, you can capture. And they have nothing to do to defend the pawn. If they try queen to e7, as you all know, you would just capture the knight. So that doesn't help. So that's the purpose of pawn to d4. You're trying to advance and trying to attack the knight here. So to stop white from doing that, black would capture the pawn. And then the next move in the Scotch game is to capture back with the knight. So you have two attackers. There's the knight and the queen attacking the pawn. And the only thing defending it is this knight. So since there's two attackers and only one defender, you can capture the pawn. So those are the basic moves. We'll go over them again, and then we can ask a couple questions.